All right, welcome everybody, the Off the Rails Sports Podcast. I'm here with Scott. It looks like you're in Rome. Are you going to be the next pope?
I got the phone call to come in, so I had to show up and be part of the conclave.
Yeah, exactly. I was looking at CNN the other day, and they were ranking because everything has to be ranked now. They were ranking the contenders for the next pope, and they go, and there's a youngster, and the guy was 65. There's the young blood.
No wonder why we didn't get the cut.
Welcome to the Catholic Church. How you doing today, Scott? How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. Just still tender. Ribs are still tender. Still moving around. Did some
Okay.
little league baseball practice. I was hoping Brian would show up to the PNW to give us some information on
Yes.
some
He's
baseball.
Yeah, he is the best at that. There is no doubt about that. Hey, I want to tell everybody, we're doing stuff different here, and Revenge of the Sith is coming back to
Um,
theaters on Friday. On Friday, okay? Yeah, right. Now you are all things Disney. I am going to ask you, out of the Star Wars movies, I want you to rank the three best.
the three best. I mean, I would go Empire Strikes Back would be top.
Number one, okay,
Number one. It's just so many crucial things happening there. A good movie, a good trilogy. Mind you, Star Wars is three trilogies.
correct.
You break it up,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
when you really set, like in Star Wars New Hope, before it was just Star Wars,
Right,
Darth Vader just comes in and he just annihilates
right,
everybody, you know what I mean?
right,
And like you
right,
don't you instantly know this is the bad guy.
right.
And that's what sets a great movie up is getting the bad guy set. And then let's find the new guy. And then they start building it, right? The reason why I like Empire Strikes Back is we get a really good get insight about how good awesome badness, all crazy words that just do not make sense,
That's
is
okay.
what Darth Vader and Empire Strikes Back is. It shows you how strength that empire is, right? And then Return of the Jedi, I like it. That would be my number two. And then three, I mean, I like Rey. I thought this last one, whatever, the Last Jedi or No Jedi, whatever it was called, I would say that's the third pick, just because you got everything condensed into one. You saw the yellow lightsaber show up. Ahsoka series though is just intense. They're saying that there's going to be a Vader series coming. They just say there's a Darth Maul series coming. Oh my God, it's just too much. It's too much. But yeah, I would
Okay,
go my top two for sure. Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. After that, I got a toss up for third place.
okay. I gotta I gotta tell you that's a nice series, but you are incorrect, my friend. That is
Okay,
incorrect.
okay,
Okay,
okay.
the Empire Strikes Back is the pinnacle. It is the
Then
number one. It is the
okay,
GOAT.
agreed.
Lawrence Kasdan wrote it. It is funny when they can pry the writing away from George Lucas, it gets a lot better. George Lucas is all about the gizmos and the gadgets, whatever. I think Return of the Jedi could have been there. I just couldn't get into the Ewok celebration at the end. I'm sorry. Yes, exactly. The
Okay.
first three quarters of it is stellar. Okay, it's
Yes,
stellar. It's just the Ewok thing threw me off. Okay, it tainted it.
yes.
It's like, you know what it is? It's like having a fantastic dinner and the dessert is a little off. It throws the whole experience off. But
Right.
I would put that as fourth. For me, and I'm not a big Hayden Christensen fan, I think he kind of got bulldozed into it. I think Revenge of the Sith is number two. That's my
Okay.
personal opinion.
Strong.
And then, like you said, A New Hope, I think, is the benchmark. That's where we laid everything. Alec Guinness was great. They had great actors in there, blah, blah, blah. I would say, though, out of the nine, those are my three. Four would absolutely be Return of the Jedi. But outside of that, and
Andor.
you made a comment, to me 15 years ago, and you said, why don't we have a Star Wars about Darth Vader laying down
Oh,
the universe? And that was literally the most brilliant thing. That is literally $1 billion idea that I don't understand how Disney is doing a Han Solo movie. They're doing a Chewbacca thing, whatever they're doing. They're finding all these characters. The Mandalorian, great series, whatever. But why didn't they just take two movies and go, this is Darth Vader just laying it down? So when we
yeah.
see him walking into New Hope, we go, whoa, there's that dude.
Right.
From the end of the Revenge of the Sith to that movie, we go, this is how this cat became such a badass.
Well, yeah, and in Obi-Wan, we get a little snippet about the Inquisitors that have switched over, and they were younglings that they took, and they're hunting down the Jedi, right? We get a little bit of
Right.
that, but I want to see Obi-Wan just mauling people, and you saw a little bit of that in
Yes.
Obi-Wan when he took
Yeah.
on the Inquisitor, and the chick's like doing all this crazy stuff, and he's just standing there like, "Are you done yet?" And then pulls one of her sabers, breaks it in half, and goes, "Okay, let's play," and then jacks her up again, you know
Right. Right.
and it's it's just shows you how powerful that guy is, and it's like at the end he is what brings the force together, because he is starts off
Absolutely.
good, goes to bad, and then he brings it back together, and then here we are at the New Hope. It's I really wish they would do a deep dive on that and get going on that.
Yeah, I
We
agree.
get a little snippet on Obi-Wan, and they give Obi-Wan like where he is more powerful than Darth Vader, but I don't think it's true, because I think
No.
he's trained him so he knows where his weakness is at. So he
Right.
knows how to divert around him. And here's Darth Vader trying to catch up and remember what Obi-Wan did to him, and then it's
Right.
after the fact. You know,
Right.
it's absolute it's chess. It's chess,
Yeah. It was chess.
yeah, and they're saying that Ahsoka is supposed to show up again. So I don't know if it's a memory or whatever it's going to be. It's
And
going to
I'm
be
sure it's
interesting.
something.
I,
All
they,
right.
they Hayden Christensen's trying to get some more paychecks. Let's get that
Yes,
straight.
he needs them. God bless him.
Yeah,
I
and
will say this. I thought Rogue One was really good outside of the
yeah,
nine.
yeah. Outside of the nine, Rogue One. That's where I'm saying the three is so hard to pick, because Rogue One,
I
you
agree.
go in knowing they're all going to die.
Right. It's a suicide mission.
Yeah, and now they
Yeah.
have two spawned off series of Andor that's like, hey, let's give some pre-ops, of how these people got here. And
Uh,
I'm gonna be watching Andor later on the day. I just haven't had
of
time.
course you will. Of course you will.
When you got the grand dude that wants Bluey
Yes.
or Baby Boss, it kind of
Yes.
overruns the Andor, because he says
Of
pops
course. Got to get
mean no
your
like.
priorities straight, kid.
Yeah,
Okay, baby blue.
pops mean no like.
All right, let's segue off into the National Hockey League. Oh, look at that. Look at that in the Vatican. He's even got that there. All right, let's talk about some stuff outside of the playoffs. Let's go with your Mighty Ducks, Anaheim Mighty Ducks. They fired their coach. What's going on there?
About time. About freaking
Okay,
time.
wow.
About
Whoa.
freaking time.
Whoa.
About
This
time.
is off the rails. Can you?
Hey, it's not off the rails if you're a Ducks fan. We're probably
All
catching
right.
up to Boston. We're not going to make the playoffs. Fire everybody.
So what was your breaking point with him?
It just during mid-season, you heard so many backlashes about how he was destroying the players and everything, and just super hard. Look at you got to be hard on these guys. You got to be on top of it. You got to push in your design of play, right? I get it, but the guy's just a hothead. He doesn't know how to control the team. He doesn't know how to lead them. He even mentioned in one of the interviews is, I never played in the NHL, so I don't know how to get this guy out of his slump.
Okay.
I don't know how to do this. He admitted to that. Like, okay, you can have concepts, but if your team doesn't believe in your concept, he
Absolutely.
tried doing man on man defense and
Okay.
then was getting everything, when you're going in and have video and you're breaking down videos and you're like, Zegras, this is what you did wrong. And you're beating that guy down for 45 minutes,
Yeah.
and that guy is there to make goals, not to defend.
Right.
Defend 20% of the time, like 80, try to score 80% of the time.
Yeah.
When you're a center, then it's 50-50. When you're a winger, you're only supposed to be defending for like 20% of the time. You know,
Right.
you know, and if you're gonna do man on man, then he's getting out of his zone that he's supposed to be flying up to score on. That it doesn't work for that type of player.
Okay.
Verbeek spending all this time, not money. Let's get that straight. Ducks are not spending money yet. Is building a fast, speedy team that
Okay.
is designed for slowing down the pace, quick pass, and then shot on goal. Right? That's
Okay.
what he wanted. And this coach is trying to have a defensive team that wants thugs, which you don't have the team. You don't have the players for that. You know,
I understand the
how
players
can you
players
tell?
match it.
Would you tell Wayne Gretzky to go check some guy?
Actually, I would. I don't like Wayne Gretzky, so yeah, I would tell him to
Wow,
go
wow. Hey, hey, hey. Wow, wow. Yeah. This
I
was the
was
guy. This is the guy that's happy
Mario
about the
Lemieux.
Russian. Oh yeah, you. He was a great player. God, if that guy didn't get ill, man, he would have been stellar.
he,
He would have broke
he would
more
have been the
records.
best. He would have
Yeah,
been
he
the
would
best
have. He
ever.
would have.
But you know what? It's numbers, right? All
Bring
right.
back the mullet. Bring back the mullet.
Yeah, bring back the mullet. Okay, Vancouver is playing hardball with Rick Tocchet. They're saying that he has to accept their offer. They're going to part ways with him. This comes after a year. I think that they were the top team in the West. Do you think they've soured on the relationship there?
No, I think it's just they don't want to give him the $8 million. You know.
Okay. Well, he's got a gambling bill, Scott.
Hey, hey,
He hangs out with Wayne Gretzky and Janet Jones. Come on, he's got
one win
money.
away. One win away.
Yep,
You
that is
don't. You
it.
don't have a bill no more. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. All right, I'm going to go into my lament. I don't know if anybody out there saw my little diatribe after the Dallas Colorado game, and Liam Bichelle hit the game winner, but early in the third period he got rocked. It was just one of those situations. He's a 6'7" defenseman. The player for Colorado put his helmet literally in his face, rocked his whole head. He was down on the ice for about a minute. He comes up, he's incredibly bloody. They walk him over the bench, they clean him up and shoot him back out on the ice. And I'm sitting there going, does anybody check for a concussion?
Nope.
There is no way
Nope.
I am believing in this world that guy's bell didn't get rung.
Hey.
That guy should have went off the ice into concussion protocol. And literally, you and I have had this discussion about the NFL 15 years ago. I thought the NFL was going to be done because of concussions. You said that's not going to happen. You were absolutely correct. Hockey is ignoring this concussion thing. And that was the ultimate moment where, okay, I tell you, he's never going to admit it. That guy was walking around in the clouds or skating around in the clouds for the next 2 minutes. Granted, he hit the game winner in overtime. Everything's good. Nothing to see here. But nobody on ESPN, nobody on the broadcast is saying, could this guy have a concussion? That's all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I agree. I mean, it should have been boarding. They need to get some more stringent laws about that. I agree. You got Toronto watching over every little play there. They could have called something, instead of just letting the referees go, hey, I missed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I agree. The whole thing about the concussion thing, it needs to be watched over, but it's muscle memory. And if they don't have that game-winning shot, then you got the other guy over there yelling that, "Hey, why was he off the ice?" You know what I mean? Because NHL doesn't tell you what happens to him. I mean,
No, no, absolutely correct. They don't
yeah,
give you any information. And
yeah,
I likened it in that little podcast I did the other night to the United States knew asbestos was a cancer causer, but they didn't have quote unquote enough deaths.
numbers.
The NHL, there is undeniable evidence, medical evidence about CTE and concussions. And the NHL and Gary Bettman are putting their head in the sand because they do not want to anger their partners. I am getting tired of PK Subban. Oh, just tough it up. Look,
Yep,
this is a tough man's game.
yep. Eh,
Somebody who doesn't play is not a wussy. They are tough men. Sometimes you can't go. And I am getting tired of PK Subban sitting over there, a guy who never won a cup, telling us the guy's got a man up.
yeah,
F you. F
yeah.
you. And then when you get done with that F you, have another F you on me. Off the rails is
Abuse.
sending one.
Like and subscribe.
Yes, like and subscribe. All right. So I've had my rant. Do you got anything to add to that?
Well, I mean, the New Jersey and against the Canes, there was a intentional headbutt. Nothing got called on that. You know what I mean? I mean, these are men playing in a men's sport. That's an aggressive style sport.
Let me ask you a question.
We can't all play baseball. We can't all play golf.
I
Okay.
look, they got skills.
Okay.
They are incredibly skillful. But you put these 250-pound men on skates, accelerating them, it's going to be a bigger issue than the NFL. It
Yeah.
is. The
Yeah.
impact is bigger, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Can't be
And
skating with
you're
a big old pillow.
yeah, big halo like the dog wears. Let me ask you something. How many guys, and I'm going to be honest here, I'm ambushing them a little on this thing. So if you don't know, it's cool. But how many guys have you seen in the league who are out for concussion protocol?
Maybe a half a dozen for the year, but you
Right.
don't know. It could
You
be
don't know.
upper body injury. That's
Right.
what we get told. We don't know.
Right. But it's not really labeled. Like in the NFL now, they at least label it concussion protocol.
Yeah.
He's not going to be back for 3 games or whatever it
I don't
is.
think they want to label that because if they label it, then
Right. They admit it.
there's a time frame.
Okay.
There's a
Okay.
time frame. Like when they say, "Oh, you got an ankle sprain or whatever," and they put you on the IR, there's
Yeah.
a time frame that they're not allowed to come back on the ice and then practice on the ice and then get, they get built in. The NHL does that, does have that when you get pulled on the IR, that they have time frames that you have to hit before they allow you back on the ice.
All right.
So they don't.
So,
I mean, that's why they hold it so tight. And the players want to be on the ice to play. Like,
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, their money's not Otani money. I think, if you
No.
look at the Ducks, the whole Duck team is probably less than Otani making money.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't, it's like your son said, and I have so much respect for your son, but he said, their salaries out of the big four, they're the bottom. Well, at the end of the day, somebody has to be.
Yeah,
Okay? Like
yeah,
like the PGA Tour sits here and goes, we should be making the money that they make in the NFL. Well, at the end of the day, you're still making a great living. Not everything.
yeah,
There's the best lacrosse player in the world isn't making big money. The
yeah,
best women's basketball player isn't making what they make in college for the
yeah,
men, right? I mean,
yeah.
some things it's not always equal,
Well,
right?
if
It's
you,
about a
yeah,
supply and demand.
yeah. Me and Ray Lee are watching that Netflix series on the PGA, which is a great series. And
Sure.
then they show the guy that got 53rd, he makes 45 grand, that
Right.
just had brain surgery. And the guy that wins second, he makes 140, $1.4 million.
Right.
That's not counting the MasterCard logo that's on his chest right here,
Absolutely.
the
Absolutely.
Nike swoosh that's all over him. That
Sure.
sponsors are getting all that time. They're not telling you how much
Absolutely.
money he's getting from that.
Well, and also what happens let's just talk about tennis and golf for a second here. Wow, we are going off the rails.
Hell yeah,
The more money you make, the less it costs to live. Let me tell you something. Rory McIlroy or Scotty Scheffler, they're rolling into town. They're getting free suites. They're getting all their meals free. They aren't like the 115th guy who's got to
yeah,
stay at the Quality Inn
yeah,
and he's got to get his own car and he's got to pay his own meals. And you know what I mean? Coaches are going to give those guys, Rory McIlroy, free stuff because they want to be associated with the brand.
yeah,
Bruce Harmon, did he get paid
yeah,
for Tiger? No, probably not. But he made $50 million in instructional videos on the side.
yeah. Amen. Yeah, you're
Okay.
right. You're right. Hey, just like you said, why didn't Kobe's wife leave Kobe?
Amen.
Right?
Amen.
If when
It's
she
the
goes to
money.
LA and she wants the number one restaurant,
Yep.
oh, that's Kobe's wife. She's in.
And she still gets it. And she
Rest in
still gets
peace,
it.
right? She still
Yep.
gets that. Yeah.
Amen.
You know what I mean?
I got a question to ask you before we really get in. We're kind of getting close to the end here, but
Yeah.
I noticed yesterday, and I guess this is a network thing, and I didn't see anything talked about it, was we had Florida play Tampa Bay for the first game, but we already had a couple series that they have already played two games before they even teed off on their first game. And then all of a sudden, Matthew Kachuk comes back, just ring or yeah, right. And I'm wondering, why do you think the NHL had some teams play two games before they even dropped the puck in the Florida Tampa Bay series?
Well, I asked that question too about, like, if you looked at the West had already played, and
Right,
the Kings didn't play until Monday. I don't know if they're figuring in traveling time, because the
mm,
Cup is every other day. But if you got a lot of traveling time, you can't really do the every other day. Like now
right,
now Edmonton and LA are leaving to go to Edmonton. You know,
right.
Florida and Tampa. I mean, you can take a bus and you're there a couple hours, right?
Absolutely.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like I don't know if they figured in the TV time. I mean, I think they're smart about the 30-minute incrementations about starting every one, because you're able to jump and catch each period and go back and forth.
right.
I mean, I really thought, I mean, I mean, it's only game one, but Florida just put the beat down on the Lightning,
Big time.
you know.
Just smashed them.
And then you
Just
saw
smashed them.
Minnesota just connecting big time against Vegas.
Yeah,
In Vegas, and Vegas is sitting there going, at any minute we're just going to start scoring. Like, you guys could do what you think, but they weren't able to get in the net.
right.
And we're also starting to see players come back, like the Avalanche.
Yes.
The last time the captain was on the ice was when they won the cup. He is set to be back on the
Three
ice.
years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
talk about a recovery and not
I
giving up
gotta
the C.
I gotta tell you, Dallas played the last half of game two like it was game seven of the cup. They knew
They
they
need
had to
to.
win that cup. It
Two
was it
games.
was intense hockey.
2 games. You lose 2 games at home, you're in trouble.
Yeah. And they would have been.
They
I
would have
mean,
been.
you got any other thoughts on what do you think about the Kings Edmonton series? That was a
Uh,
heartbreaker for Edmonton in game one.
did we see rust? over rest or
Yeah,
rest over rest? You know, I mean, that's the
right.
question. Were they not clicking? Because let me tell you, when McDavid needed to make that fourth goal,
Sure did.
200 feet all the way down, shot, boom, there you go. We're in it. You know what I
Insane.
mean? And their defense is not what it was last year.
No,
And like I said before, your goalie needs to go. I need to keep it down to 3 goals because I know our team can get 4 to 5.
absolutely.
And 41 seconds left, and he let one go. You know,
For
oh,
anybody out there who is worried about Edmonton, I'm going to tell you my own experience. I thought last year, Scott was in with me on this. We took Florida to win in 4 or 5 and 6 games. Well, that was our bet to win the
yep,
cup final. And the way Edmonton started out, it was so terrible. They started out so horrible. I was like, Scott, we're gonna sweep them, and we're not gonna win our bet. They strung it out to 7 games. There
yep,
is a resiliency with those two big guns, and I agree their defense isn't as good, but maybe they find a way to click.
yeah,
To
maybe.
me, when I see them playing the Kings, they just seem to know they can win. I know they haven't done it so far. I'm not arguing it,
That's only
but
one game.
that comeback from 5-2, I mean,
Yeah,
it's like they said, okay, we're going to flip the switch here.
yeah.
Okay, they lost the game. I get it, but
I
wow.
laughed. I laughed, and then I came back and said, "What the hell? Well, how'd this
Yeah.
happen?" You know?
Yeah. Coming back from your big dinners, living that
Yeah,
life in the PNW. Well, I'm sorry, in the Vatican.
yeah. Hey, I thought I was gonna get in, but apparently 65 is the cutoff. So,
Yeah, I know, right? You're a little too young, you young whippersnapper. Oh, and
hey,
the word of the day, wait.
oh,
The word of the day is staccato. Kato. Now, a
Kato.
staccato, if anybody was smart enough to listen to our first podcast on Monday, Scott said, what is that yarmulke thing that they put on their head? It is called a staccato. And
Ah,
when you are the Pope, you have the white one. When you are a cardinal, you have the red one. And then a bishop has the purple one.
ah,
Those guys, we don't care. You can do whatever you want. You can call it a yarmulke because you're so far away from being up there. It doesn't really matter. Okay, we don't got time for you. It's all
right.
it's all about the big players here. I
Ah,
don't care what's going on in the AHL, and I don't care what's going on with the bishops. You're not going to be Pope. Good luck. Have a nice life.
good job. Hey, how about them Boston, huh? Look at that green shirt. Look at
Yeah,
you.
look at my Boston. It's the only way we're going to win a title this year is the Celtics. Maybe the Red Sox. I don't know, but the Bruins. Jesus, what a dumpster fire! God bless. We could do we
Well,
could do we could do a do
well,
10 podcasts on how bad they are. Jesus Christ! How do you go
uh,
from the best points ever in a season 2 years ago to okay, it's time to get the Ontario Reign out there. Put them on, put
right?
a B on their chest. Let's go.
What's
Ugh.
Pasternak thinking? What's he thinking as he's doing his Pepsi's commercials?
Marchand couldn't get out of town quick enough. It reminds me of when we traded Ray Bork to Colorado so he could get a shot at a cup, and he got one. But, hey, what are you going to do?
Why do you send the guy in your own division?
I know.
That is not very smart.
Well, he wanted to play on the East Coast because of family considerations. They were
Whatever,
trying to be
dude.
cool to him. I'm not
Whatever.
arguing. I'm not arguing.
What, dude?
Look, we're not making the playoffs. Just make the guy happy. Okay. God dang, man. I don't want to see you as the GM.
You ain't making your fans happy. Let me tell you,
That's
because
true.
when Marchand comes back and just destroys you again,
I know. Well, he's a
when
free agent. We keep living with the fantasy he might come
yeah,
back.
yeah.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna punch you. You know what? Wait till 2 weeks when Tortella is your new coach there in Anaheim. Because we know one thing about the NHL. It's rinse and repeat. We are
It's like
gonna
Hollywood.
rehash.
It's like Hollywood. Hey, the Rangers fired, the Kraken fired, the Ducks are fired. There's a firing squad going on. It's almost like the
Sure.
NFL. Wait until
Yeah,
the
almost.
season's done and let's just get rid of coaches.
Let's get rid of it. I mean, really, it's what I call the leftover surprise. You go you're hungry, you open up the refrigerator and you see that's 6 days old, that's 4 days old, that's 3 days old. What am I going to pick? That's what they do for coaches.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, but we haven't had an NHL coach for the last 3 coaches. We've gone with
Okay.
these AHL coaches, this new breed of players that we need to coach, this new design.
All
You
right.
know,
All
maybe we
right.
need some old blood in there. I don't know. We need
Yeah, some new
something.
blood. Maybe they can get you in there, kid. Maybe
Oh,
they can get you
let
in
me
there,
tell you,
kid.
I'll be driving doing those X's and O's all day long.
And the Vatican in the background. God, you're the best. You are the best, my friend. All right, everybody, that's it for today. Like and subscribe. Leave some comments, unless you're going to troll me. Go ahead, even do
Whatever.
that.
We need this. We
Yeah,
need it. We
we
need it.
need it. We need it, brother. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.